Hey, Taurus, Mel, intuitive coach here, excited to bring in your November 2025 monthly reading. All right, let's open up your energy field and take a look at what the month ahead has in store for you. Now, Taurus, your seventh house is activated this month. This is the area of one-on-one relationships, soul contracts, business contracts. Basically, November is going to act as a big old mirror, right? Both personally and professionally. And for many of you, you will be evaluating balance, right? Are you giving and receiving in equal measure? Spirit is asking, how are you showing up in your partnerships? Whether it's with a romantic partner, a spouse, perhaps it's your own children. This could be a friend, it could be a client, or even an audience. And because your key themes for the month include letting go, right? You may be letting go of resentments, bitterness, anger, forgiveness. But first, it requires you to sit with Scorpio's energy, which can be quite intense. Scorpio energy pulls truth to the surface, prompting deeper, more vulnerable conversations with those around you. Now, when it comes to contracts here, many of you are recalibrating soul contracts or business collaborations here, or even looking at long-term partnerships, because this area could really take on a whole new energy, a whole new turning point here. And I see that the people around you this month are acting as mirrors. Everything that's happening here is a mirror. So really pay attention, because what's being revealed is perhaps where harmony or healing need to take place. And it could even be in your financial sector. As I was just pulling cards here, it almost felt like there was a glob of energy that got a little bit stuck there. So some of you, it has to do with your, financial contracts. So think of November as a mirror month. Everything that happens externally is reflecting something within. And you are awakening to this truth, which means when you awaken to this truth, it allows you to cut ties, right? To let go, to move on here from what no longer serves, so that you can step into this new sense of purpose. Because as Sagittarius season begins later in the month, the energy is going to shift to your eighth house, really deepening the emotional and spiritual bonds that have been examined basically all month. So you are in the midst of soul purpose, where a lot of you have been in some form of contemplation here, or you've been re-examining a relationship or a path within your career. Some of you, this is within your health sector. And I see that you're reclaiming your power through awakening here, through spiritual enlightenment. You may have even gone through a period where you've questioned your faith, or you've questioned or even doubted your own purpose. Like, why am I here? What is this relationship teaching? Why did this happen? So I feel with soul purpose here, Taurus, many of you have been sitting in that judgment energy, because that's what this soul purpose represents, is the judgment in tarot. This is your self-awareness here to rebirth a new part of you, the part of you that has overcome trials and tribulations. You may currently be going through some challenges, but you don't have to go back. It almost feels like the only way forward is through, and I'm being shown a fun house. You know, the fun house at the fair that has all the mirrors, because mirror is being reflected back to you in the month of November. It's like you have to go through that fun house, which hence, sometimes when we get stuck in that fun house, it's not really fun, because there's illusions and we feel confused and there's distortions taking place, right? The body can be elongated. It can be very wide, the chin and the face, everything is an illusion. And when you get stuck in that illusion, you might start questioning what's reality. Like, what is my purpose here? So for many of you, it's like the door is opening here towards release and letting go of some form of illusion, perhaps around relationships or the energy exchange that has been taking place that may have felt a bit one-sided. So your other key theme for the month here, Taurus, is liberating yourself. This is goodbyes, growth, ascension, closure, and life lessons. This is difficult. It's difficult to let go, right? Because we hang on and we fight to hang on. We fight to let go. These are two energies that I see most often and that I myself have dealt with most often, because we try to hang on to a sense of stability, a sense of normalcy. And whether this is in your relationships or whether it is in your career, sometimes we fear letting go, because what if we let go and it shakes up our entire world or our entire identity? But remember, as you are currently in the midst of the fun house, which is reminding me of the Seven of Cups mixed with the Seven of Swords, like disillusionment, but also choice. Like we have choices here. And many of you are coming out of the month with more clarity. You are choosing here a new path, but you may be shown, I'm getting moon energy as well, you may be shown some of those shadows or subconscious energies, because that's that depth of Scorpio. And for many of you, there's going to be truths that are exposed, and you're being guided to trust your intuition as this next chapter opens up for you. It's like a new portal, a new doorway. And I feel like what you've unlocked here is the heart chakra, because the heart is your archetype. And for some of you, because you've gone through situations where you have felt left out in the cold, perhaps abandoned, perhaps rejected, or you've gone through a very difficult loss, a heartache or a heartbreak, even though that's not showing up here in your cards. Actually, you do have the coffin when it comes to love. This tells me that you have gone through something very difficult. And sometimes our first defense mechanism is to throw up a wall, to throw up this barrier around the heart, because pain hurts and we don't want to feel pain. So we tend to kind of hole up. We tend to put up that wall because we don't want to ever feel that way again. But many of you are opening up. You are opening up, and that requires letting go of some of those illusions, some of those old wounds, those old stories. So this is definitely a big mirror month for you. And everything, again, that is happening here externally is reflecting within. And you may be saying to yourself, I don't love this, right? I don't love this dynamic, or I want there to be harmony. I want there to be some sort of balance. And so if there is an exchange of energy that is being reevaluated, recalibrated, that's why letting go is so significant. So you can go forward with the Chariot. So you can go forward feeling like you're in alignment here, instead of feeling like you are a bit stuck or you're in the midst of that Hanged Man energy. The soul purpose, judgment as well, which is a spiritual rebirth. And many of you have been unable at times to let something go of the past, but it was harming you in some way, or it was heavy. It weighed very heavy upon you, and you may have even had a difficult time releasing judgment. Judgment upon yourself, or judgment upon someone who has hurt you or treated you in a certain way. And I see that this truth is waking up within you, where you are saying, I am not that story. I am not that heartache. I'm not that heartbreak or that loss or that disappointment. You know, whatever that may have been that you've gone through here, you know that you are worthy. You know that you are lovable. And that is the truth here. And that is the key to making it through that quote unquote fun house. You have the awakening. Awakening here is rising. It is about you reclaiming your power. This is a major rebirth taking place at this time. And I see through 3 major arcanas here, 3 out of the 6, this is a big monumental time in your life. This month here is about spiritual enlightenment and really connecting to your higher self. This is about you connecting through your crown chakra, but also your heart chakra here, and opening up to this cosmic love. And I see many of you are coming to a point in your life where you've been working heavily on yourself, right? You've been doing the work, whether that's therapy, it's meditation, it's all of the external things, but it feels like something is clicking. Something is clicking for you this month where the pieces that have felt out of reach or the pieces that you couldn't quite gain clarity on, that's what this awakening piece is bringing in. And it allows you to reclaim your sense of wholeness. That's what I'm getting here for you, this sense of wholeness. And that changes everything. Bottom of the deck, we have breakthrough. So realization, boom, there is the discovery. There's the aha moment of truth that perhaps you've been praying for, that you have been asking for. And it doesn't feel like this is loud externally. It feels like this is, that intuitive moment within that something clicks. And you have this realization, and then it feels like you make choices, you make changes in your external world because you want there to be growth. You have been growing, by the way, Taurus. There's been a lot of growth here. I feel like your guides are very, very, proud of how far you've come, and they continue to walk beside you as you embark upon this next chapter of your life. And many of you are about to enter a new phase, right? A new phase of your life where you've never been before, but it hasn't been easy getting to this point. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be a walk in the park during this next chapter, but I certainly see that things are starting to blossom within you. It feels like things are starting to flow more. There's more of an ease than a suffering, if you will, because I do see that there's been perhaps some struggles, perhaps around finances here as well. All right, moving into tarot, we have the Four of Wands showing up. The Four of Wands is movement, right? It's celebrating here. It could be the celebration of a new home. You may be moving in together here. It can be marriage as well. And some of you, this is going to be finding more harmony and cooperation or support, especially if this area of marriage, home, and stability has been shattered in some way. This is the 11-11 energy, and 11-11 in November could hold a very powerful portal for you. It's one of my favorite days of the year. I always do a vision board on 11-11. It's a highly spiritual energy, and you may be opening up more through that heart center as well as that crown chakra and receiving some divine downloads. So do pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to your intuitive nudges and the energy exchange that is taking place in your life. And 11-11 may be a very reflective day, as the mirror is a big key theme for you this month. So the Four of Wands is about foundation. And I feel like you are celebrating here this sense of foundation that you have started to create within. And you are starting to see that there's support, that something is coming together here for you after maybe letting go of old stories or old preconceived notions or old patterns here that have kept you on lockdown. Now, the Three of Pentacles is showing up here as cooperation. This is about teamwork, right? Teamwork, making that dream work. So as the month flows into this 11-11 energy, you're going to see truths pulling to that surface here. And so this is an energy of allowing and receiving vulnerability to shine through. There may be some heavy conversations that come in, but it's actually through this vulnerability that strengthens some bonds, but also lets you know where you stand with another. Because if someone is going to get defensive, if someone is not going to respect you or honor you, I feel like you're re-examining and saying, is this the type of pattern that I want to continue repeating? Because I see you breaking out of patterns, which leads us into the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is renewal. It is a turning point here where destiny plays a role. It's almost like an intersection here of free will versus destiny, where we all have free will to make a choice, but it's also the crossroads of fate saying you have learned some very valuable lessons. That's why November is a mirror month. This mirror being held up, right? Mirror, mirror on the wall. And for many of you, you want to incorporate this change. You don't want to keep repeating the same thing over and over. Sometimes this can be very deep lessons, generational lessons. I don't want to use the word karma. I know that's oversaturated and gets such a bad rap, but this can be connected to like the karmic loops that have played out. And because I see breakthrough here, and because I see strength with the Emperor, for many of you, you are breaking out of this loop. And for some of you, it's taken weeks, it's taken months, or it's taken years. And when it comes to partnerships here, or a sense of foundation or family, this has been part of your life lesson, if you will. It's been part of what your soul has come here to evolve into, is cooperation, harmony, and partnerships. And sometimes that requires letting go of certain soul contracts. That's why contracts is also connected to your 7th house. So I see here that you may be releasing contracts that have been fulfilled or have expired, but you're also making way for this Wheel of Fortune to bring in change. And we tend to fear change, right? That's why we go to tarot readers. That's why we watch these videos. We go to psychics and mediums, because we want to feel stable. We want to feel prepared here for what's to come, because that gives us this sense of control. Like if I know what's going to happen, I can better prepare myself. And sometimes there are things that are fated, that are outside of our control, and no matter what, we're not prepared for them. And I see here that this is one of those times where there is change coming in. And I have a feeling this change, though, is for the better. It's going to liberate you. It is going to liberate you here. It's going to set you up with your most authentic, truest path from here on out, even if that feels uncomfortable at times, because you have strength here. And when strength shows up, this tells me that you're far stronger than maybe you give yourself credit for, but I also see that you have known darkness. You have walked through the valley, right? What is it? Through the valley of the shadow of death, right? You have brushed shadows here. I mean, why would this little girl hug the crocodile? Doesn't that seem insane? But really, it's about duality. It's about light and dark. Right and wrong, good and bad. I mean, is there really that sense of division, or can we look at it as wholeness? Can we look at it as growth? Without one, right, you don't have the other. And that is the beauty of duality, but it's also important to come back to center and remind yourself that you are already whole, and that the duality that is taking place here on planet Earth is to help you evolve. Right? Spirit has branched off in these sparks of divine love. And that's you. You are divine love. You are here to experience all that life has to experience. And that oftentimes includes pain and heartache. But what this is saying here is you don't have to shut down your heart. Because oftentimes we put up that wall. And I feel like you've been trying to chip away at that wall, that little inner voice, or that critiquing voice, or that judgmental voice that told you were too much, that you were not good enough, that you were abandoned, that you were, whatever stories, whatever conditioning that you have grown up in. Maybe as a child, as that little girl is. But what's happening is you're making peace. You're making friends with some sort of shadow. And through that, that's where you find compassion. No matter what you are going through currently, Taurus, or no matter what you've gone through in the past, with strength here, this tells me that you are going to get up out of something here. That you are going to move forward. You're going to put one foot in front of the other. And I have a feeling with the Emperor, this is about you bringing back divine order and stability into your life. This is a month where you're getting focused, because the Emperor is more focused. But because I am getting this dance energy coming in with the Four of Wands, this is focused on perhaps more of what brings you joy, more of what enlightens you. You already know what the shadow feels like. Now you're leaning into more of that peaceful energy, thriving, not just surviving. And that's why the Seven of Wands, the Seven of Pentacles, Wands. This is the Seven of Wands here. I'm getting a little bit of both, the Seven of Pentacles. So perhaps the Pentacle, although this is Wands, is saying that you've been reevaluating and reassessing. This is a divine detour, a pivotal point. But the Seven of Wands says that you've had to learn adaptability. You've had to learn hardship, the school of hard knocks, right? And the Seven of Wands tells me that there was a big chunk of your life, Taurus, where you felt closed off. Perhaps there were accusations. Maybe you felt on guard. Perhaps you felt like you've been in fight or flight. Yeah, this is an interrupted nervous system based on an experience that we've gone through that has caused us to shut down, caused us to become avoidant, caused us to numb, caused us to fall into some sort of patterns or addictions that can leave us feeling depleted, leave us feeling less than whole. But when this shows up here as your movement energy, it tells me that you are now standing up for yourself. This is about you defending what you have created. What have you created? You've created a sense of peace and stability here within, and you are going to defend that. Meaning, if there are stories, old patterns that want to come back in, right? Sometimes we fall back into those default patterns. This is about you choosing to consciously interrupt them and say, instead of going back and doing the same thing over and over again, instead of letting my nervous system get the best of me, telling me it's unsafe, telling me I can't trust, telling me I'm not whole, telling me I have to stay closed off, telling me I have to, be in this pressurized energy where I'm walking on eggshells and I feel on guard. This is about you liberating yourself from this. This is about you being able to live life on your terms. And if a challenge comes up, you are a sovereign, fierce leader. Those are the words I'm getting. Sovereign, fierce leader, which means any challenge that does come up, when strength is on your side, there's nothing, right? There's no thing that you cannot get through. And when strength comes up for many of you, it wouldn't surprise me if you are a teacher, a coach, a mentor, a guide, a guru, an instructor, whomever, right? But it feels like many of you have this compassion within you to help others, to be of service in some way, to help the planet, to help animals, to help people, to help children, to help women, to help whomever you feel called to help. And I see that it's through your wounds that make you the best healer, that make you the best teacher, because you have experienced it. You can empathize with it. And you have this newfound knowledge to be able to teach for those of you that may be interested in that path. All right, we have here, when it comes to health, this is energetic health here that could, of course, manifest in the physical. But if you have any symptoms, please seek out a professional if need be. The Wheel of Fortune coming through governs the liver and the liver function. Some of you may be guided to go on a liver cleanse here. This can be a toxic buildup in the liver, especially if there has been any sort of alcohol abuse, or it could even be toxicity through foods, through mold, through anything that can be difficult for that liver to detox out. And it can show up in skin, right? Skin eruptions, rashes, moles as well. It can be rosacea, things of that nature. Now, Wheel of Fortune can also bring in like low vitality. If you are not feeling your normal vitality here, some of you may be benefiting from drinking more water, especially water with lemon, because lemon is connected to the solar plexus here and can also connect to that liver. And you may have even had digestion issues, and allergies could play a role in your if any of you have any skin issues as well. I'm getting like the skin being our biggest organ. Some of you may have had some skin changes or like aging skin. You may even be looking at new creams, new lotions, or, staying hydrated from the inside out. That is what's coming through here. And I'm also seeing eyes. Okay, eyeglasses. Maybe some of you are due for new glasses, or maybe you've considered getting LASIK, or if you have had any issues with the eyes, get the eyes checked out as well. Now, the Strength card showing up here. The Strength is a powerful energy because this is about overworking the body. It's the nervous system, which I was seeing here for you as well, but it can be exhaustion, and it can be exhaustion due to an unhealthy lifestyle or habits, but it's also the Strength rules the core parts of the body, right? The heart, the back, the ribs, the side of the torso, the spine. This can be heart energy here. So if there's been any heart issues, that may be something worth looking into here. The spine, it has to do with your ribs as well as circulation. So breathing in this region. And I am getting here like circulatory. So maybe some of you getting the body moving, doing some strength training if that calls out to you. Perhaps you are thinking about like doing some yoga or doing some Pilates, or even just some brisk walking may be beneficial. Getting that circulation moving, getting that flow moving, because there can be some stagnancy in the gut region. The solar plexus is being highlighted again with the root chakra here. Get dancing, turn on your favorite music and dance while you're putting away the dishes or while you're vacuuming. Get your body moving and in the flow. And then lastly here we have the Emperor. So the Emperor can bring in injuries that are inflicted with anger, right? You storm out of a room because you're mad at your spouse or partner, and you nick your big toe on the side of the door as you come out, right? So just be mindful of anger coming through. And for those of you that may have even dealt with a father figure or a divine masculine, or I should say a masculine in your life who's had a bit of a temper, there may have been emotional, physical, or mental injuries here or experiences that you've been working through. Now, I am getting an interesting message here, okay? Some of you, has there been an injury involving an animal, maybe as a child or maybe even as an adult? I don't know if this is like a scratch, maybe cat scratch fever. I didn't even know that was a thing until my daughter, decades ago, she had gotten scratched from a cat claw, and it really had infected and swelled up on her stomach. It almost looked like she had one of those like big, huge stomachs. It was awful. And so some of you may have had an issue with like cat scratch fever, or perhaps some of you have allergies to a certain fur, or there may have even been like someone may have gotten bitten by an animal here. I am getting that. But also, this is about you starting an exercise regime that's going to get your blood pumping, get your muscles moving here. So there's a common theme between the three of these health energies here, where some of you may be saying, Mel, I don't even know how to do that. I'm tired. I feel low on vitality. And it doesn't have to be this huge shift where you buy the gym membership and you go to the gym every day. Start small. Start with, in the morning, if you have 5 minutes where you are drinking tea or waiting for your coffee to brew, take that 5 minutes and do some stretching, do some jumping jacks, or if you're putting away dishes, just start swaying the hips, just get that body moving. That is going to be beneficial. And of course, because the Seven of Wands is coming through here, and I am picking up on nervous system, any form of somatic healing, such as breath work and really connecting to your body, is going to be beneficial when it comes to balancing out that vagus nerve. Okay, the vagus nerve. If you're interested in that, check out the polyvagal theory. It also connects to the nervous system. All right, let's look at finances, abundance, wealth, and money. There may be some gossip going on at work. For those of you that may be going through, maybe you work for the government, or you're going through some big changes with boss, with upper management here, or maybe you're dealing with someone who's very stubborn, someone who is micromanaging in some way at work, or if you are your own boss, I feel like there has been some sort of talk, whether this is, people talking about what's going on, the changes here, or maybe there are people who are being catty or gossipy, or this could be the stories that are replaying out in your mind. This is about you minimizing drama or taking personal responsibility to act with integrity. Right? To act with integrity. That's also connected to that 7 energy, which, remember, your 7th house is activated. Personal drama could be getting in the way of work if there is any sort of personal drama going on for you. But remember, with this mirrored month, you are starting to see why or how these things are taking place, what's being reflected back to you, so you can make some different choices here. So if there is any sort of gossip, any sort of drama, I feel like you are not wanting to stoop to that level, right? You don't have to get enmeshed or lost in someone else's stuff. You don't have to take on this stuff. And if you have your own stuff going on, try to deal with it this month so it doesn't impact your work life. Next, we have the Anchor. This is about being stuck. It can be money blocks, but what I like is the breakthrough. The breakthrough is at the bottom of the deck. So many of you are creating this new sense of stability here. When it comes to your finances, there could even be a new income source coming in, or you could see an increase here in abundance, an increase in goods or services, or even a promotion here, if that may be something you've been trying for with that 3 of Pentacles, the teamwork, making the dream work, and you're doing the happy dance. So it looks like there is a newfound sense of cooperation and togetherness where some of you could even be traveling, right? You may be traveling, relocating to a new department, relocating to a new job if that's something you are seeking. But the Wheel of Fortune tells me that, once that domino gets knocked down, right, the rest of it kind of flows into place here. So it's like taking that one step activates everything. And I see that you have, or you are about to take that one step. Now, water could be significant. Some of you work in the water industry. Perhaps you work with boats. You may even be connected to like a water fountain. Perhaps there's a big water fountain when you walk into your workplace, or you walk into an interview and you pass a body of water on your way. So pay attention to water. That's going to be very significant. And Scorpio energy is also water. So it feels like this anchor is being lifted, right? You may be letting go of one chapter, but I feel like you're putting down anchor where you want, where you feel most alive, where you are feeling good and activated here. Because there's been adaptability. It's like you had to adapt to some of these changes in the best possible way. But with that 4 of Wands coming up, it just feels like there's a sense of stability that you haven't felt for some time. And then lastly, regarding career, finances, money, you have the Heart here. The Heart is about emotional spending. Be mindful of your spending this month. I see that some of you may have in the past needed to rein in your spending, but it does feel like you are being more structured. You're bringing more order to your spending habits, but I also see that you are supported here. And look what it says. It says having a job that you love. and counselor or guide, which I spoke of earlier. So many of you, even if you're not in a spiritually based business per se, you're using your spiritual tools to help you create, a more abundant life in whatever career you are in. Maybe you are in data analysis, or you are in marketing or real estate, or, some form of consulting here. I see that, oh, some of you work with children, I just heard. Okay, maybe some of you are looking over children, or you could be like a child psychologist here, or you are working with your own inner child is what Spirit is saying. Okay, this could be a playful job, something that feels lighthearted, something that feels fun, but it is having a job that you love. Let's look at relationships. Because relationships are a big focus for you this month, I see the coffin. The coffin does say new beginnings, liberation. And because you have letting go, some of you are letting go of an old dynamic that you've outgrown, or you've learned what you've needed to learn. It's like you're closing the casket here. This also is giving me judgment vibes. So for some of you, you're not going back to this old relationship or the old way of thinking or behaving in this relationship. It feels like there has been an ascension process that has been taking place here, and you have been reborn in a way. It's like you've transitioned. And for those of you that had a loved one transition, pay attention to the signs, because I see that there's a sign being given. I'm getting sweetgrass, like the smell of sweetgrass. Some of you, that is going to be a sign from a loved one, but I'm also getting here the flickering of a candle. I mean, all candles flicker, but there could be something that catches your eye. Maybe it's like a flicker or a spark that flies off of a candle. Hopefully not in a, hopefully nothing catches on fire, but it doesn't feel like it feels like light of some way. Like light flickers here for you, or like a candle is going to flicker, or it could even cast some sort of shadow on the wall, but you're going to know that your loved one has transitioned. Some of you could be widowed. This could be a father as well with that emperor. And I see that there's been an ending here within a dynamic, but ultimately it feels like you are cutting ties or moving on. You've received what you've needed. You've progressed. You've arrived. And how interesting that we actually have the boat and we have the anchor coming up. So some of you may have even had a relationship with a family member, or this may have to do with an old job, something that you felt stuck to or anchored to. And you've had to be strong. You've had to adapt as you were waiting for this wheel to turn. It's like you've been applying, or you've been putting yourself out there. And I see with this emperor, there's a breakthrough coming in. And as we move into your 8th house, that's where the energy really shifts into the spiritual and emotional aspect of things. So your final message here with relationships is the sword and the rose. There's that aha moment. There's the clarity, there's the truth, there's the revelation. If you have been replaying out a pattern between you and a child, or you and a parent, I'm also getting here, some of you have taken on a role instead of partnership. It feels like you've taken on the role of like parenting or caregiver, where instead of it being an equal balance, it feels like you are the one doing all the heavy lifting. So for example, let's say you are in a partnership, but you are the one that has really done a lot of work, a lot of inner healing. You are the one that has been applying a lot of energy and attention into this relationship, but it feels like the other individual is only giving 10% and you're giving 90. That is being re-examined, recalibrated in a way. And I understand that relationships, right? They're not always 50-50. Sometimes you are giving 90 and that person's giving 10 because that's all they can give if they're going through something certain. But ultimately over time, it should balance out and there should be an even exchange. And if that's not taking place, or if it's been ongoing for years and years, I see that that is what is being addressed at this time, either personally or professionally. All right. What does your inner child, hello inner child, once again, what does he or she need? Do you need safety, security, comfort, or validation? Thank you, Spirit. I'm hearing the name Pam or Pamela. And I heard Jones as well. I mean, that's a common name, I think, Pamela Jones. Now, if that's together and your name is Pamela Jones, then drop it below, but I feel like it could be separate here. And I'm also getting a rainbow. So some of you are going to see a rainbow. That is going to be a sign from a loved one in spirit. Maybe that has that name, or maybe PJ. Maybe PJ is someone's initials. It says, honor your inner child's needs by asking him or her, what do I need? What do I need to play? Or do I need play? Do I need dance? Do I need rest? Ask yourself, what is the most loving thing that you need right now? And how can you gift this to yourself, Taurus? You have a right to feel how you feel because your needs matter. Taurus, you matter. And because this is coming up again, and I was picking up on that, inner child, and no, I did not see the card first. I read it as I go with you. So the inner child here tells me that, your inner child may be feeling alone, right? Your inner child may need a hug. Perhaps you're needing more connection. Are you voicing this to a partner if you have one? Or are you showing up in your relationships with your children if you have them in a loving way? Or is there some sort of resentment, bitterness, blockage, shadow that may be getting in the way of true connection? That's what is being addressed. And lastly here we have the heart. So I'm going to find this archetype in the guidebook. One moment. All right, Taurus, the heart is the home, the center, the throne. It is possible from an imaginal point of view to sense the heart as a place. Either we are there within the realm of expansion and compassion, right? And you actually have the word compassion. We talked about that in the strength energy here. Or we have drifted somewhere else. There is no in between. It is common for us to leave this archetypal center without realizing it. As the world, with its seductive twists and turns, there's that wheel of fortune, right? Offers us frequent departure, letting go. We may even become a stranger to the landscape of the heart, leaving it vacant for long stretches of time. The seat of the heart is often reclaimed by nature, music, dance, and the presence of children and animals. This card encourages us to move past the layers of life's tangles and knots and enter the wild and sacred center of self. The most precious throne in the galaxy is awaiting your return. Some say there is a cave at the center of the heart. Others say it's a pool with a flowering white lotus. Imagine yourself there and draw what you see. Recall the last time your heart was touched. Soak in every detail you can and feel the heart awaken. If you want to go deeper into this energy, check out Wild is the Wind by Nina Simone. And when this is showing up as the light aspect, it's expansive, it's knowing, it's gentle clarity. And when it's showing up as the dark, it can be betrayal, tangled, or fraught. For those of you that would like to be entered into the free monthly reading giveaway, drop in the comment section below the video, when was the last time your heart was touched? Maybe it was a simple act of kindness. Maybe it was a hug that you shared with a loved one. Whatever it may be for you, drop it below. Let's spread this love. Let's share this love. And if you have time, I ask you to look at other commenters as well and check out that heart space energy. Soak in every detail. I want you to feel that heart energy shift and awaken, because that's what this month is all about for you. Thank you so much for being here, Taurus. If you enjoyed the reading, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and hit that bell if you haven't already. And if you are interested in a personal reading or signing up for the monthly newsletter, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video or by visiting intuitivesoulcoach.com.